Hi, guys. Welcome to my podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan White, and today we're going to be talking about a topic that I've really wanted to talk about for a while now, and that topic is dating apps. Now, I have a lot to say about dating apps. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but in general, I have a lot of mixed feelings about all the dating apps in general and just dating apps as a concept. I just have a lot of mixed feelings about them because as much as it is a good way to meet new people, I feel like the whole idea behind it is just very sketchy and it's not something that I really enjoy because I feel like there are a lot of ways it can be incredibly toxic. And today I just wanted to dedicate this entire episode to talking about my feelings surrounding that and talking about my experiences with the several kinds of dating apps that I've been on. So for starters, let's just talk about a couple of them. Tinder, for example, is a huge one. I've been on Tinder quite a few times. I've been on Bumble. Grindr is, I don't know if you can even call Grindr a dating app, but we can get into that a little bit later. That's a whole nother discussion. But let's just talk about Tinder. I've had Tinder a couple times now because what I do is I download a dating app and I swipe for a few days, maybe like a week or so. And then I kind of get exhausted with it. I kind of get tired. I get kind of icked out by the fact that I'm even on it. And I delete it without anything really going anywhere. I might talk to like one or two people, maybe, if that. But I find myself just getting on it, making a profile, swiping for a while, and then, I don't know, it just kind of fizzles out and it doesn't really capture my interest for a very long time. And I find myself just trying to get off of it. And then, I don't know, like I get on it again whenever I get bored or I feel lonely or I feel like I have the emotional capacity to start getting into that sphere again. But with Tinder, I feel like there are just so many reasons why it's the most popular. I feel like it's just the most convenient. It's the most like easy way to meet new people, if that makes sense. It's very versatile. It's very like you can get on it very easily and it's very easy to use, whereas some other apps might be a little more confusing. And Tinder has just gained such a massive following that you would find more people in your area through Tinder than anywhere else, just because of the sheer amount of people that are on it already. But I've been on, I want to say 3 Tinder dates by now, and obviously none of them have really gone anywhere. I go on like a first date with someone. We go to like a restaurant. It's mainly like a sushi place in my experience. We go to like some Japanese place. We talk for a little bit and then we kind of go home. We talk on text for a little bit and then it just kind of fizzles out. Like one person kind of gets dry, stops responding, and then it just doesn't really go anywhere. And I find that really discouraging because, you know, you put so much time and effort and communication into this one person and you spend so much of your time and your energy on this one person just for it to go nowhere. And I'm not gonna lie, it can get pretty damaging to your mental health. At least in my experience, it can be kind of this game of like, who's going to ignore the other one first or who's going to ghost the other one first, because I feel like in this day and age, it's become a trend to not care. about the person that you're talking to, which I don't really get. There's this game online of like, if they don't text you back in this amount of time, then you have to do double that, and you have to ignore them for this amount of time to show them that you don't care and that you don't need them and that you are completely independent and you don't even care if they're talking to you, because if you care too much, then they're gonna think that that's weird and that you're gross or whatever. And I just want to know when that started. Do you know what I mean? Like, when did it become normal to treat the person that you're interested in like you're not interested in them? That never made sense to me. I'm like, if you care about this person and you want to have a future with this person, you got to put some effort in, you know? You got to put some sort of communication into what you want and what you need. And if they're not giving you that communication, then maybe it's time to cut that off. But lately, I've noticed that it's become a trend to lead people on and to kind of show that you're not interested in them so that they would somehow be more interested in you. Someone please tell me how that makes sense, because I don't get it. But I've noticed recently that the more I use these apps, the more I start to become like the people that I don't like on them. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like being on dating apps has given me trust issues with the people that I'm talking to, because so many times I would go on a dating app and talk to someone for like a week straight, like a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks even. And then out of nowhere, they'll just stop talking to you. They'll just completely lose all contact, not even like acknowledge the fact that they're doing it. They'll just completely ghost. And it's gotten to a point for me where I almost expect it. I go into a talking stage expecting that they're going to ghost me later on. So I end up not putting in as much effort. I end up not putting in as much love and care and communication into this person as I would want to, because there's this mindset now of I shouldn't invest too much into this person because they're just going to leave me anyway. And that's such a toxic mindset to be in, and I hate the fact that I've gotten into that mindset. But it's almost a kind of like defense mechanism at this point. Because if you put in all this time and care into a person, it's going to hurt a lot more when they leave. And I've had situations in the past where I invested so much of my heart and my mind into a person that when they ended up leaving me, it did hurt so much to the point that it almost was impossible for me to come back from. I've had times where I've had my heart broken over someone because they chose to ghost me and not communicate with me. And I didn't expect them to do that. So now expecting them to do that kind of takes that risk out of it. And that's one of the things I hate about dating apps now, is that everyone kind of has that mindset of like, don't care too much because it's not going to work out and you're going to be heartbroken. And everyone has that mindset. And it's so heartbreaking to see that, because now it's like we all just want to find love on this app, but now everyone is too afraid to. Now everyone is too scared to admit that they care. And I feel like dating apps have kind of created this culture of not wanting to accept that you're caring about someone so that the other person would care more. And it just never works out that way. But that's just one of the many ways that they can kind of derail your self-esteem and derail your life. And that's one of the main reasons I keep going off and on with them, just because of how damaging it is mentally. But Another reason is that I just compare myself to the people that I'm swiping with. You know, with Tinder, you kind of swipe left if you don't like them and swipe right if you do like them. But I've noticed that with me, I always swipe left on the people that I'm not attracted to, right? Because you have to be attracted to the person that you're into, of course. But I've noticed that when I swipe right on someone, it's because I do find them attractive. But the thing is, I feel like my self-esteem isn't high enough to think that I'm worthy of them liking me back. And maybe that's something I have to work on personally, because that's no one else's fault but my own. But I've noticed that whenever I swipe right on someone, I always think that they're too good for me or that they're too cool for me. And I kind of get into this mindset of, oh, I don't think that they would like me back. I don't think that they would care about me as much as I care about them because I'm too ugly or I'm too whatever. Like, there are just so many factors that go into what I think about myself. And I find that with these apps, I compare myself to these other people. And I'm like, wow, like they're so much prettier than me. They're so much cooler than me. They're so much more adventurous and active and talented than me. But I've come to a conclusion recently that I probably give off that same effect to other people because I show off my best parts of my life. And everyone else does too, you know? Like, we're not gonna show the world our bad traits or our bad moments in life. We're not gonna show Tinder, hey, look at me doing nothing on my bed. Look at me going to class and wearing a black hoodie and some sweatpants. Look at me just like crying on my couch and eating a bowl of cereal. No, we're going to show the world our kayaking trip or our beach vacation photo. We're going to show the rest of the world the best parts of ourselves and the best parts of our life. And I've come to the conclusion that we're all comparing each other's lives, and none of it's even real. Like, none of it is even real. Because no one's having a cool, adventurous life 24/7. That's just not possible. No one is always going on a trip. No one's always going to some cool restaurant wearing some fancy clothes. And no one's going and having the time of their life 24/7. But when that's all you see of a person, that's your entire mindset around them. You're always seeing them having fun or having a good time. And I feel like that's a problem with not just with dating apps, but with all kinds of social media. Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, like all of these apps, they all show off the best parts of you. And I feel like that's why we as a generation all have this fear of being worse than everyone else. Because we're all trying to prove to each other that we're having a good life and that we're having a better time than everyone else, when it's really just not true. But I feel like with these apps, you're having to judge someone through maybe like 3 selfies of them and a caption. And half the time that caption is just something like, take me on a date, or try and guess like my favorite color or whatever. Like, we're having to judge a person through a keyhole. And it's such a weird thing to do because there's so much more to a person than that. There's so much more to a human being than 4 of their selfies taken at their best angle and a curated paragraph about their life. Like, we're having to judge these people on if they're compatible with us and if we want to spend our life with them. And we're basing it off of almost nothing substantial. And I feel like that is such an odd thing to do. It feels like it's something out of like an episode of Black Mirror. Like, technology has gotten so far to the point that we don't even have to meet someone face to face to judge them as a character. And it's given us the ability to know someone without even knowing them, because Be honest. If you went to your Snapchat, your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever, like your Tinder profile, would that accurately show who you are? Would that accurately portray what you do and what your interests are and who you are as a person? Because I assure you it does not. And that is the main problem I have. It kind of doubles down on our self-esteem and is like, wow, look at them. They're so much greater than I am. They're so much more attractive. They're so much more talented than I am. And we're only seeing a snapshot of who they are. And they only show us what they want to show us. But it's created this toxic environment of competing for each other and being fake to do that. And I always grew up with this idea of love. Like, I'm gonna meet someone at the store or at school or in a classroom. I'm going to meet someone on the street and we're gonna have a great time together and we're gonna get to know each other authentically and organically. Because that's what the movies and the TV shows always portrayed. They portrayed this kind of love as if it was a naturally occurring thing where two people just stumble upon each other and get to know each other and fall in love. And as a kid, that's what I grew up thinking life was gonna be like. And that's why for such a long time, I kind of pushed away the idea of using a dating app, because I almost fell in love with the idea of something like that happening to me. But as time went on, I realized that that was never going to happen for me. I was never going to go out and meet someone and someone was going to ask me for my phone number. Someone was going to ask me for my Instagram. No, that never happened to me. So I was like, okay, if I want to find someone, I kind of have no other choice than to put myself out there and go on this app and look for someone myself. Because what other option really is there? I'm not going to waste my entire life away hoping something's going to just fall into my lap. Because then I'm going to spend my entire life alone. So I bit my tongue and I downloaded it. I downloaded Tinder and I chose to do the thing that I always said I would never do. And I feel like there are so many things that I've learned about both myself and about the world through doing this. But the main thing I take away from dating apps is that nobody is as cool as they might look. As cool as someone might look, as fashionable as they may seem, as exciting and interesting as they might look through a profile, they're not. They just are not. Everyone is just a human being with a mom and a dad and a pet dog and friends and priorities and homework, and they all have to do their laundry. They all have to use the bathroom. They're all just people. And I've realized that this complex that I had, that I was inferior to these other people based off of how they portrayed themselves, was so flawed and was so stupid. And I've come to realize that I don't want to be on a dating app anymore if it's just going to make me feel awful about myself. If it's just going to make me feel bad, why would I be on it, So at the moment, I do still have Tinder on my phone, but I think after this, I'm going to delete it. I'm just going to remove it off of my phone, because why would I need it? Why would I need it? But yeah, those are my thoughts. That's what I take away. If you have a dating app and you found love, or you are trying to find love, great, good for you, more power to you. For some people, it really does work. It really does help people find love. It really does help people connect to other people, and that's great. That's wonderful. But I find that for me, it just doesn't really work out that way. And to me, it does kind of more harm than good. But maybe if I work on myself and kind of get over these complexes in my head that I have, maybe one day I can approach a dating app in a healthier mindset and a healthier way of thinking. And maybe one day it will work out for me. Who knows? But In the meantime, I think I'm going to be staying off of them. But yeah, if you have any feedback, if you want to let me know how you feel, you can contact me. My contact is on my website, which will be linked. You're probably viewing this on my website anyway. But yeah, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.